Welcome back to my shelter dog training series, and we are going to jump right into it today because there's a lot that's going on here. So this is Rocky, and I'm told he is quite reactive and will redirect to the person leading him through the hallways when he sees another dog. So I'm going to take a lot of precaution here because he's not muzzle trained, and we are going to just kind of hold him off to the side and hold him a little bit tight to eliminate as much of that opportunity as he has to redirect to me. So I'm going to give him enough leash space that it's kind of difficult for him to redirect, and it's not pretty, but we are just going to get through it because right now he just doesn't have the leash training or the skills to get through this in a way that is below threshold. So we are just going to kind of say, hey dude, I'm really sorry, I can't explain it to you, but we need to just get through this together, and we're going to talk about it later. So what I'm using here is the same thing that I use with all doorways with pretty much every dog as much as I can, is I want the dog to make calm, quiet eye contact with me before they go into whatever threshold, whatever room is next. So we got through the door there. I did it at both doorways, so both the first door he went through and this door to get into the arena. And once we're in here, I'm kind of feeling him out, seeing what he's like as just a leash-mannered dog, kind of seeing what he knows. I've never met him before. This is my first time meeting him. So we are just kind of getting to know each other. Already I can tell that he likes the energy, he likes the movement, so my pace is a lot quicker than it was with like Bo. Bo had a lot of anxious energy. This guy just has healer energy. It's just a little bit more motivated and mission-like than Bo's energy was. So I just kind of let him out on the end of the leash here, and as he starts to pull, we're going to go back to what we always do. If he jumps, he does quite a bit of jumping. I'm just not going to be offended by it, but as he gets to the end of the leash and he starts to pull, I'm just going to switch direction. No offense taken, no big deal. Already he's liking the leadership though, so he's already tucking into pack drive and kind of paying attention to me. He likes the leadership, I think, of just we're going this way, we're going that way. And also he probably is enjoying the break in the routine from going out the same doors he always goes into. He's super treat motivated, which is great. We like a dog who is treat motivated. When they are, we can use that to our advantage to help facilitate more behaviors that we'd like to see from them. Then we're going to go into the yes game, which is where I say yes when the dog looks at me and I toss a treat. He's super treat motivated, so at first he's looking at the pouch, he's looking at my hands. It's taking him some time to find my eyeballs. That's okay. I'm just going to wait him out. If he jumps up, I'm just going to ignore that and wait till I get the calm, quiet eye contact. I really don't correct a dog for jumping up during this game. They learn that they just don't get the treat if they're jumping up. Now I'm about to correct him for jumping up, and all I'm going to do is I'm not going to talk to him, I'm not going to touch him, I'm not going to look at him, I'm just going to step into him very calmly until he steps to the side. But really here I'm just making eye contact with him as I'm waiting for him to find me. I'm keeping my toes pointed towards him, and with him he likes the chase, so I toss the treat a little bit farther away. He gets frustrated right about here because I haven't tossed a treat, and I'm just going to step into him pretty confidently. That's my correction. That's it. And as soon as he jumps down, I'm going to leave him alone. I might even take a step back, and then we go right back into it. And dogs learn really quickly with this game what earns the treat and what doesn't. So once he's kind of figuring that out, we're going to go back to moving around. We take a break from it, let him just kind of have some free time to think about what he's just done. Usually I try to end on a good note, and I might even go into some figure eights here with him. So letting him go to the end of the leash and then just turning and going the other way. I do like the shakes that are happening. They're kind of just like half shakes where it's mostly his upper or the front half of his body that's shaking. But I do like that he's kind of relaxing. He's falling into pack mode. He says, okay, I'm here for it. What do you need? What I love about the yes game is that once we get the yes game going and your dog gives you their attention, then you can get anything else done with them. It's much easier to get obedience after we've gotten focus, but it's not always easy to get focus from obedience. So I forget what I'm explaining here, but the next thing that we're going to get into is figure eights. With him, I'm going to have him on my left side, and what this is if you imagine drawing an 8 with your dog or with your leash on the ground, and your hip is the middle of the figure 8. So the top half of the figure 8 is going to be in front of you, and the bottom half of the figure 8 is going to be behind you. So it ends up looking like an 8 if you were to draw one next to you. The top half of the 8 here on the left side is going to be clockwise, the bottom half is going to be counterclockwise. And I love these for so many reasons. The biggest reason is that it doesn't like prevent the dog from going ahead of you. You're not correcting anything. You're just saying, you're setting a boundary with your dog. If you go in front of me, then I'm going to bring you back into pack mode. There's not really a whole lot of like fighting with the dog on this. Now we might see that as the dog hits a higher arousal state, but what I love is that this is meant to help bend and relax the dog. If you think about when we're tense or we're anxious, we're very stiff and rigid in our body, and bending is hard. So with the figure eight, you're asking your dog to turn 180 degrees one direction and then 180 degrees the other direction. So you're manufacturing a little bit of a relaxation with your dog until they start to flow through this. Their first few might be a little choppy, and especially if they're reactive or they're really distracted by something, they're going to be more likely to turn away from you either direction in your top half or your bottom half, and it's just going to be harder for them to bend. So you're going to see more of a rigid 8 rather than a smooth 8. Here he's jumping up on me again, so I'm just going to ask for a little bit of space. I step towards him. He shook it off a few times. He doesn't like the leash pressure because now I'm just asking him to calm his body down and sit, and he says, I'm not sure what you want me to do. Let me try jumping. He's just troubleshooting and problem solving right now, as healers do. I'm going to offer a little bit of guidance with what I want him to do, and that is just offering my hand to the side. This is quite frustrating for him. I don't know how much longer I try this before I kind of give up and I walk away. But I'm also offering him a couple smooches, but I'm keeping everything nice and calm. I'm not asking that much of him, or really I'm not pressuring him too hard to sit. And if a dog's really struggling, we're going to take a break. Maybe we go back to something they do know or they can accomplish, so that we don't lose that kind of confidence that we have that the dog can't figure out what you want. Here I'm going to do some crossovers. He's really good at just like understanding that leash pressure is something that he gives to. So my crossovers, I'm just asking him to come in front of me and then back behind me on the other side. Once he's behind me, I ask him to cross over in front of me again and go back behind me on the other side. This is another great tool to help a dog learn to relax. It just is another way to do like your figure eights without a lot of space. Usually I'll start to, as the dog gets better at our crossovers, take movement out of it. So here I'm asking for the sit again. We don't actually end up getting the sit with him, and that's okay. He's already pretty responsive and calm and focused. I probably try for a little bit too long with him as I'm watching this video back, but I'm not putting that much pressure on him. He's such a sensitive guy. Like as I put my hand there, you saw him jump out of the way. You see him jump up. He's pretty frustrated and he can't quite figure out what I want from him, so I'm not going to pressure him too much, and then I'll maybe even go back to something he does know again. I'm not too disappointed that we didn't get a sit though, because he, knows a whole bunch of other things. So we're going to go back, we're going to wrap up here in the arena, and then we're going to go back through the hallway. Now I'm definitely going to be asking for calm, quiet eye contact at either door, and I'm also going to be keeping him on a pretty short leash through the hallway because we just don't have the time or the resources to train him through that yet, and he honestly doesn't have the S-game skills and the leash skills that I really would like him to have, so that we can get through the hallway calmly. I just want to work in smaller steps and be a little bit better at the S-game, so basically taking 2 steps into the hallway, back out, relaxing, things like that. But we just need to get through this hallway and as safely as we can with no bites. So we're going to just do what we have to do to get through it. We're definitely over threshold. Ideally, I would do some calm, quiet eye contact, but he's just so over threshold that wouldn't be quite fair to ask him to do that at this point. So thanks for watching.